Have you ever noticed how a single drop of rain on your hand feels so small, so insignificant, yet when it joins a river, it becomes part of something vast, powerful and unstoppable? Isn't it fascinating how a shift in perspective transforms something ordinary into something extraordinary? So imagine for a moment how much changes when you simply step back and see things over time or across a wider landscape. Sometimes a belief feels true, doesn't it? Like saying mean things means you're a mean person. But if you were to zoom out, could you discover, perhaps, there's a bigger story being told? Maybe what seemed harsh in the moment was actually necessary for growth. Like pruning a plant, cutting it back so it can bloom even brighter. What if you begin to notice how often the most important lessons they're wrapped in discomfort? And as you reflect on this now, perhaps you realize growth is the bigger picture. Now consider this: if it's too fast, then it won't last. That's a principle nature itself abides by. A towering oak doesn't grow overnight, does it? And yet, how much more enduring is its strength compared to a sapling that shoots up too quickly, only to wither under the weight of a storm? Doesn't that make you wonder about the beauty of slow, steady transformation? The kind that isn't just fleeting, but lasting. So when you think about change, isn't it worth asking, how will this look over time? Think about breakthroughs in science. They're often doubted at first, resisted even, because change can sometimes seem threatening. But when viewed through the lens of history, we marvel at the courage of those who dared to challenge the status quo. So next time someone doubts the worth of what you're doing, you might smile and think, time will show the value of this. Isn't that how progress works? And maybe someone says, it won't last, so it's not worth doing. Yet, isn't it true, even if the smallest shift in a destructive pattern can set off ripples that lead to profound change, like planting a single seed? It doesn't seem like much at first, but over time it becomes a forest, and forests, as you know, change the world. Or imagine someone saying cancer causes death. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, is that a belief that I want my child to carry? Because if everyone believed that, would there ever be hope of a cure? Isn't it hope, the belief in possibility, that drives progress? When you see through the lens of hope, you start asking questions like, what else could this mean? What opportunity lies here? And then there's that feeling of lateness. Someone might think being late means you don't care about them. But let's consider this differently. Better late than never, right? What if instead of focusing on time, you focus on the connection? After all, isn't it the warm, caring reception that you receive when you arrive that truly shows the depth of someone's love? Maybe even enough to make you think, wow, this is worth every effort to be here. Now, nuclear arms. They're often thought of as a strength, protection, safety. But for how long, for whom, and for what? When you step back and think about it, doesn't it make sense to ask, what's the bigger picture here? What happens over time? Who truly benefits? Because sometimes, when you change the frame, you realize what seems strong was really just fragile, and what seems safe was only temporary. So as you reflect on these ideas, let me ask you this. What happens when you allow yourself to take a step back, to view things not just in the moment, but over time, across a larger context? Isn't it true the story often changes? What once seemed fixed becomes fluid, and with a broader time frame, the impossible becomes possible. And perhaps now, as you think about these metaphors, these examples, you'll begin to notice how naturally your mind starts to reframe, to expand, and to explore. This is exciting to realize just how much is waiting for you when you simply widen your lens.